I'm Timothy Holloway.
And I'm Riley Judd.
And welcome back to Know Your Nonsense podcast.
Yes.
Where I talk about history, folklore, and food.
And I talk about games, programming, and design.
And today we talk about Portland, Maine.
Finally!
It's about time.
I'm so excited.
We're sorry about the delay on this one.
Yes.
It's been a struggle of
a big one.
Semester. College and stuff.
Yeah, college is hard.
Gets in the way of everything.
Everything.
Yeah. It's not like it's important. Just kidding, it definitely is. Do
No.
not blow off college. If college is your thing. But we can get into that on a different episode.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So Portland, Maine. The alleged lost episode.
Oh gosh, we're this new and we already have a lost episode?
Yep, it happens.
Oh gosh, okay.
Okay, starting podcasts is hard.
It is, but it's fun.
It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Alright, so to get into it, we'll talk about what it is and the history of it. To start, take it away, Timothy.
Alright, Portland, as its own, entity. Some things to know about it. It's Maine's largest city, so that's really fun. It is located in Cumberland County, and it is essentially positioned all on this giant peninsula in Casco Bay. Now, almost all positioned on there because Portland also has a number of islands that, frankly, kind of deserve their own episode. We won't promise anything, but we were not going to get into them very deep here. But I'll just name a few. You got Peaks Island, Long Island, Little Diamond, Great Diamond, Cliff Island. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this. It's like Chebeague, Chibagua.
Beautiful.
I butchered that, and I'm so sorry.
That sounds great.
And, quite a few other islands. We have both visited Portland. I was able to visit Peaks Island when I was there. Really interesting island. They have stuff like the Umbrella Cover Museum, because that's a thing, and it's really something to go behold. I'll tell you that now. And they've got a cool old abandoned World War II Army base. That is absolutely stunning and really fun to just kind of yell in because it echoes for ages. But not the point. That's all we're going to touch on the islands right now. A few other things about Portland that you should know is that it is the second largest fishing port after Bar Harbor in Maine. It is the largest port by cargo tonnage in New England. So that's a big deal. And it is the largest foreign inbound port by cargo tonnage in the USA. So, they're a shipping powerhouse just chilling up there in New England. And it's pretty cool. So, as far as the history of Portland goes, it's got a very interesting history. First off, it was settled in 1633 by a Richard Tucker and a George Cleves. Now, it was originally called Mashegon, or Great Neck, by the Abenaki people who lived there. But then it was settled by Richard Tucker and George Cleves. They changed the name to Falmouth after they actually tried to settle somewhere else. They tried to settle up in Cape Elizabeth, but they were kicked out by another settler who was there, and so they went a little bit south, and they founded Falmouth, which will later become Portland. Now, this city was destroyed, utterly destroyed, a few times in its history. The first time I have recorded here is in 1690. It was raided and destroyed by the French and some of the indigenous people that were living there. That's one. 1775 was bombarded by the British and destroyed again there. And then later in 1866, it was a 4th of July celebration that kind of got out of hand and burned the whole city down.
Yep.
Be careful when you're using your fireworks, people.
Yes.
But that did not stop Portland. In fact, they kept rebuilding, and it was after the time they burnt down in 1775 when they rebuilt and eventually named themselves Portland in 1786 after the Isle of Portland in Dorsetshire, England. Now, Maine still would not become a state for quite a few years after that. It wouldn't be till 1820 when Maine was granted statehood, and Portland was named the capital, not Augusta. That would come later. But Portland would remain the capital of Maine for 11 years, from 1820 to 1831, before the switch to making Augusta the capital. Now, they had always been a fishing and shipping and kind of commercial harbor since their founding, and this was only made stronger and supplemented by their industrial endeavors. This especially happened during World War II. Well, World War I and World War II, my bad. kind of big deal. Don't forget World War One.
Never forget.
But really, though, they got into naval shipbuilding and produced a lot of ships for the Navy. And a few other fun little history tidbits. It was the childhood home of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So if you're familiar with the story Paul Revere's Ride, that little poem that you may or may not have learned when you were a kid, that was Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He was a Portland, Maine, what's the word when somebody comes local, I guess.
Wow. Yeah. Local, yes.
Dude, words are hard. But yeah, that is where he grew up. You can still go visit his house. They have it all very well preserved and very well restored. And they actually have a bunch of fun signs on the chairs and stuff because they don't want you sitting on them. Like one of them I remember was, this chair is reserved for Elvis since he hasn't visited yet. You're not allowed to sit here. That was really funny.
Incredible.
They had a sign on the piano saying, "Trust me, no one wants to hear you play chopsticks." That was amazing.
Amazing.
Yes. Look, I love chopsticks. I do, but it's so overdone.
I know. Learn some heart and soul. Let's switch it up a little.
Learn anything else.
Anything else.
Not that I'm one to talk. I don't play piano.
I play piano.
I want to.
Learn something else.
There you go. So yeah, that's a really fun place to go visit if you're into Wadsworth Longfellow. Even if you're not, I didn't know much about the guy when I visited. Go check that house out if you go to Portland. They have a museum about the natives attached to that building as well. And it's all part of the Maine Historical Society, and it's really great, and they do good work there. Now, another fun little history thing is the first African-American Catholic bishop in the U.S., James Augustine Healy, was made bishop over Portland in 1875. Started out in Macon, Georgia, and then eventually wound his way to doing seminary. And the source I found said in Montreal and Paris. It did not say what countries, so I don't know if that's a different Montreal than in Canada and a different Paris than in France. But wherever he went, those were the names of the cities. And then he did mission work in Boston and then eventually moved up to Portland to become bishop and did a lot to benefit, I believe it was those affected by the Civil War and those who were kind of hurting after that really taxing time in history. So yeah, that's a really cool fun fact that I feel we need to acknowledge there. So a bit of fun, I guess, gossip about its founding. Can it still be gossip if it's,
I mean, yeah. Okay.
It's ages old, but whatever. There were two men who founded Portland, Richard Tucker and George Cleves. Well, their families still have a lot of descendants in the Portland area. So there is a monument to both of them, which is fantastic. It's a nice little obelisk. But then there's also a statue of George Cleves over by the Portland Yacht Company. But how did that get to be there if, Tucker doesn't have a statue by Cleves? But essentially, the Society of George Cleves' descendants decided, hey, we want a statue to our ancestor because he stuck around Portland longer than anybody else. We want him to be known as the founder and all this stuff, which, to each their own. But it had come out recently that George Cleves may or may not have owned slaves. And so the city of Portland was not willing to put up a statue at that time in 2002 when this was brought up. And they told them, you know what, we are fine with you honoring your ancestor. We just can't take that chance right now because, slavery's bad. And they don't want anybody thinking that they were promoting that. And so instead, they said you can have a statue on your own private land. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So the owner of the Portland Yacht Company was like, hey, I have private land where my business is. And so they put up a statue there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun little story.
Alrighty. Well, to piggyback off of the illustrious history of Portland, Maine.
Oh, yeah.
Another fun fact, the seal of Portland, like the city seal, it is a phoenix rising from the ashes because of how many times the poor city has been burned down. They just keep burning down and keep coming back up. So they're like, hey, let's lean into it a little bit. So...
I mean, that's a pretty awesome way to lean into it.
Yeah.
And did you read anything about the word that they had on there, too?
No.
It's like resurgam or something like that. It's Latin, I think, and I think it meant Again, I Will Rise or something like that.
Nice.
So, like, they're completely leaning into it.
Yeah. So Timothy covered a few of the, like, historical things that you can look at and do if you visit Portland. On the other side of things, it has a very big art district on Congress Street in the main city of Portland, and it has things like the Portland Museum of Art, the Portland Stage Company, the Public Library, Maine College of Art, the Children's Museum of Maine, the Space Gallery, Merrill Auditorium, the Portland City Orchestra. Just a lot of good stuff to do in the arts in that area. And then what I really wanted to talk about is it has won many awards for its food.
Amen.
Yes. So in 2009, it won Foodiest Small Town in America. I don't remember who awarded that title, but in 2018, it won Bon Appetit, a Restaurant Critic magazine, Best Restaurant City of the Year. And there are dozens upon dozens of places that you can eat and enjoy when you go to Portland. So I was in Portland briefly, and we went to lots of places. Probably the first, which has to be mentioned, is the Portland Lobster Company. Probably
of course.
One of the most famous food places in Portland, Maine. They are right on the waterfront, and they catch their lobsters fresh every day, and they are famous for their lobster rolls and live music. And there are plenty of other places to eat, such as the Duck Fat restaurant, where they are known for their duck fat fried fries. And you have coffee places out your ears.
Oh
my
gosh.
Personal favorite, a little place called Coffee Me Up, after, Maine's abbreviation is M-E.
Yeah,
Funny.
of course.
I like it.
Yeah. My favorite was Speckled Axe.
Yes.
Yes, so good. They use Siphon Coffee there. That's what I use at home. It's wonderful.
Tell our viewers what Siphon Coffee is. For those who don't know.
Real big sidebar, but it's important.
It's important.
So, Siphon Coffee. It's I think it was originated in Japan back in the 1800s, but essentially you have a beaker full of water that you heat over an open flame, and then another beaker sealed on top of it. When it gets hot enough, the pressure pushes the water up into the top beaker where you add the coffee, right? You stir it up, you let it sit and steep for a while. Then you remove the heat, and the lowering temperature in the bottom beaker causes a vacuum, which it pulls the coffee back down to the bottom beaker through a little filter that you had previously placed in there. And it is labor intensive, and it takes a while, but it makes such a good cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And you just feel cool doing it. Like, not even gonna lie, it feels amazing. And that's apparently what Speckled Axe uses. Found that out this time around doing research. Oh my word. Go visit Coffee Me Up. Go visit Speckled Axe. Tell them Know Your Nonsense sent you.
They don't know who we are, but tell them anyway.
They don't know who we are. They don't need to. They just need to know we're fans.
Yes.
Yes. We love you guys.
Yes. And then another fun food place. This is the only one I'm going to get real deep into the history of. When I was in Maine, when we were walking around, me and my mother, we decided that we were going to go to, I believe, the Grill Room, I think was the restaurant that we went to. No, it was the Front Room, excuse me. The Front Room. So as we were walking around town, though, I saw the Grill Room. And I was like, well, that's interesting. We have the Front Room, the Grill Room. And as we kept walking, there was another, the Corner Room. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What's going on here? Well, a man by the name of Harding Lee Smith is the owner of all three of those restaurants. They are known as The Rooms in Portland, Maine.
That's a cool chain name right there.
Yes. And so the way he puts it, quote from him, I wanted to make it a neighborhood gathering spot to have that homey feel like when you step into someone's living room. So he is a Mainer by birth, and he graduated from high school, and he left Maine to experience the rest of the world. So he got a science degree from Boston University. He moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, and he attended the Culinary Institute of America's West Coast campus in Napa Valley. And then he went on an apprenticeship in Venice, Italy. And he was in Maui, Hawaii for a while, where he was a chef in several well-known restaurants.
Dang.
And then after 6 years of being on the island in Maui, he returned to Maine, and after spending a little bit of time at the Back Bay Grill in Portland, he embarked on his dream of opening a casual neighborhood restaurant and bar. So I believe the front room was the first. Front room was the first and is the only one that allows walk-ins. And so this one is your kind of homey, kind of comfort food, chicken pot pies and such.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you have the grill room and the corner room, both of which are by reservation, not walk-ins. And the grill room was the second that he made, which is basically an urban steakhouse. It's known for its steak and pizza. And then you have the corner room, which is known for its Italian food, probably heavily inspired by his time as an apprentice in Venice.
Yeah.
So it was just so interesting as I was just walking around, and there's these 3 restaurants, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure these are related. I'm not sure, though.
Okay, that's really cool. I remember seeing them, too. I didn't get to go to any of them. Now I'm seriously regretting that decision, because that sounds absolutely amazing. Maybe I'm just hungry. I think it's both. But yeah, that's super cool. Okay.
Yeah.
A few more awards that they've received through the years. They've received the Most Livable City by Forbes, and America's Best Town in the East, Top Greenest City, Most Affordable and Desirable Places to Retire, Coolest Small Cities in America. Literally, the list is large. This is a very well-known, very awarded city. And I think they fully deserve it, because that was a really nice town. I really liked Portland. And yeah.
That's what we got. Portland, Maine, folks.
Yeah, go visit it if you get the chance. What do you say? Take a little break now, and...
Yep, and then we'll be back to discuss some things.
Right. Stay on your earbuds.
On your tunes.
Yes. Okay, we're taking a break. Goodbye.
Bye.
And we're back.
Hello again.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Yes, it's so good to be back after
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Uh-huh.
Welcome back to Portland, Maine.
Hey.
But yeah, so we figured we'd stick with a couple questions that we did in the last. We decided we're going to call these off-brand episodes.
Yes, because it's off-brand for both of us.
Yeah, and it's just fun to say,
Yeah.
frankly. Yeah. But not the point. We decided we'd stick with the 2 questions we had in the last off-brand episode, which, if you remember, was kickball.
Yes.
Fun time. Which is what surprised us and what we couldn't find. So, Riley, what surprised you?
I was honestly most surprised by how many times this poor city is burned down.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my goodness. Every other establishment is just burn it down again.
It's wild, man.
And it's when you make your city... crest a phoenix because you've burned down too many times, you got a fire problem. And it's just so weird because it's in Maine. It's not in a fire prone location say California or something. They're next to Canada. Canada can't catch on fire. It's snow.
I'm not sure that's how that works.
I think it's how it works.
If you're from Canada, let us know if that's
Let
how
us
it works.
know if your house catch fire.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
not quite what I meant, but okay.
That's what I meant.
Well,
But how many times did they burn down? Do you remember?
I only have 3 times recorded.
3 times
Do you know
recorded.
if there was more than that?
I think
or...
3 sounds about right, but
Okay.
that's still a lot for
Yeah.
a city to burn down that many times. We're not talking oh no, a few buildings caught fire. No, the city burned down.
It was widespread, straight up everywhere gone. I don't know, I guess it kind of makes sense to me with how old it is, because, a lot of buildings would have been made out of wood. And they wouldn't have water pumps, they would have water pumps, but they wouldn't be as good as what we have.
I mean, yes.
But also...
You're on the ocean.
Yeah. Oh, no, man.
You could bucket chain that from the ocean.
True. True.
Now, I'm not saying that like a bucket chain's gonna stop like the fire of London or
Right,
anything,
and
but
we don't blame you. Portland.
No, Portland.
We really don't.
It's just that's what I was just so surprised. I looked, looking up the history. Oh, okay, they were established. Oh, they burned down in like a raid. Okay, well, that's tragic. Built back up. Oh, cool. Burned down again. Oh no, again. Build city back up. Oh, cool. Independence Day fire. Oh my good. There's so many burns.
Why are you bullied?
I know, it's just odd. It's like fire's got it out for Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they have not burned down in a while, so knock on wood, but
yeah, really
they're going strong.
The table here is fake wood, so please do that at home on our behalf.
Yes. So what surprised you, my good sir?
What surprised me is just how little I heard of it before I went there. Because, being in Missouri, I hear about Portland, and immediately everybody's talking about Portland, Oregon. Which I'm sure they're great. I've never been. But then you never hear about Portland, Maine, which came first, and which is this huge shipping port and has all these really cool places. And why have I never heard about Portland, Maine?
Allegedly, obviously. This is not necessarily fact, but apparently Portland, Oregon might have been named after Portland, Maine.
Oh,
they
snap.
were both named after the same isle in England, Portland Isle. But Portland, Oregon came second, and there is talk that it might have been named after the city of Portland, Maine.
Oh, shoot. I completely missed that. Oh, my word.
So it is interesting how it's just glossed over. The only reason I knew about Portland, Maine is because back in my sophomore year of college, I had to make a process book of a logo I made for an extinct animal, which was the sea mink. Now, for those of you who aren't up to date with your extinct mammals, the sea mink is the largest, mink family creature to ever live, I guess.
Because like a weasel, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
so like weasels, ferrets, like that kind of creature.
Okay.
It is the largest to have ever lived. It's extinct now. And it lived almost, it was big. Like,
oh gosh.
I think about 3 feet, 4 feet.
Oh my word.
It was massive. And it lived almost exclusively in the Maine area. And when making my process book, I decided, well, okay, if it's exclusively in Maine, let me look up some Maine stuff, where I found Cape Elizabeth, which has a very famous lighthouse, which is connected to Portland. So that's the only reason I knew that Portland, Maine existed. I otherwise would have had no idea that such a thing, was chilling up there in Maine. It's such a wonderful city. So,
holy cow.
Go
sea mink.
Yeah, it's so weird though. Like you said, it's like, why do we never hear about this city? It's not a huge city, obviously, but it's not a small, off the map, doesn't really have much going for it city. It has so much going for it, and you just didn't hear about it.
Dang, yeah. The only reason I heard about it is because I counseled at a summer camp, summer 2019. Camp Ganderbrook, shout out, my homies.
Yes.
They're up in Raymond, Maine, so Portland's only about an hour away, and on counselor days off, I would go there sometimes, and it was a great time. It's where we had the coffee. That's where we saw the Wadsworth Longfellow house, and it's just a fantastic place to go if you got a little bit of cash, because things aren't super expensive.
No.
And you're looking to just chill with friends and have a great time exploring a city that frankly feels safe. Like, I looked at crime rates there, by the way, and it's low. It's not bad. Yeah, it's low.
No, it's a real, like, New England-esque feeling. I want to just stroll down the street and look at the ocean kind of place.
Oh, yeah. It's so fun. Highly recommend you go to Portland, Maine, especially now that you know about it, because you might have never heard of it before this podcast.
Yeah.
Or technically the News and Games podcast, but either way.
So, what is something that you wish you could have found, but you did not find?
Okay, see, I found most of what I was looking for, honestly. I would look up, famous people from Portland. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Fun fact, Anna Kendrick, Stephen King. A couple more.
Yes.
The awards that we mentioned, I looked up those, and I found all those and everything, and there wasn't much that I couldn't find. I guess I'm going to change the question a little bit. What I wish I had looked up more is I wish I would have looked up the like where the city was located before the city, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like before it was founded, I wish I would have looked up more about the Abenaki people who lived there, and about why they call it Mashigan, though from what I believe, or from what I remember reading, it's because the peninsula looked like a great neck, which is what the word Mashigan means.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish I would have looked up more about that, because you can learn so much about a city and how it's built up based on what was there before the city was built. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my main thing, and I remember seeing stuff from that era whenever I was in Portland, looking at the museum connected to the Wadsworth Longfellow House, because they had an exhibit about that. It was really cool. But yeah, if there's ever a Portland Part 2, no promises, not promising that, because we don't know what the episodes are like yet.
But it could happen.
But yeah, if there's ever a Portland Part 2, that's where I'm going first.
Nice.
What about you? What did you want to find but couldn't?
So I wanted more about the food, I'm not going to lie. I'm a huge food person. While food is not my forte, that'd be Timothy.
Hey.
I do really love food. I love eating food. And so when looking up food, I was like, okay, let me check out the places that I already know of, see if there's anything unique about them. And that's where I got the history of the rooms. But then I wanted, okay, well, what's new? And I tried to find a nice compendium of the foods that you could get. And there just was not a good list. Like, even when I looked up the food awards that they get, like, okay, what restaurants caused them to get the awards that they got in terms of food? And they just were not consistent. There was no, yeah, this one's on everybody's food list. This one's on everybody's food list. And granted, there's a lot of food. There is a whole bunch of food for you to get. And there probably is somewhere a good list of all the restaurants that you could go to, but I myself just couldn't really find it. And as we're sitting here, Timothy has, in 2 seconds, found a list of food.
Well, no. I had found this long ago, and I just, have a problem about closing tabs.
He has so many tabs open, guys. It stresses me out.
This is a low
I know,
level.
It's low right now, and there's still, 30.
But yeah, moving on from my embarrassing tabs problem. One of the sources I found was essentially a travel directory that they give out in Portland. And it has a huge list of all their eateries. That'll be in our source documents. That'll be in the description of the episode. So give that a look if you want.
Nice.
But yeah, they have a list of a lot of different foods. Coffee by Design. I went there. That was fun. I think I saw the rooms here earlier. I will not go through all of this because that would extend the episode super long.
Oh, so long. But hey, there's something found. I think that's the first time one of our I Did Not Knows has gotten resolved.
I think it is. Holy cow.
My goodness.
We're moving up in the world.
No red rubber ball cryptid today.
No, none of that.
None of that.
But yeah, I think that there could still be a better directory probably. Yeah. Because this, you can't follow this directory to the websites of the places, because maybe that's what you need to do to reserve a
table.
Yeah, that's the word.
Man, those 2-syllable words, they're really getting you today.
Dude,
local, table.
Words are hard.
Oh man,
herds are hard.
I don't like that.
You're welcome.
Ouch. So that's what we got on Portland, Maine.
Yeah, and we realized that this is a bit of a shorter episode.
Yeah,
and
that happens.
Yeah, it happens, and it's okay. We understand that there's much more we could talk about with this topic, and also we're trying to rework a few things in the podcast, so we're focusing more on that right now.
Yes.
Because we hope to deliver better episodes in the future.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, that's what we have on Portland, Maine, and
next week we will be having a Christmas episode for you all. Holidays.
Happy holidays.
Holiday.
Oh no.
So we will be having a special little Christmas episode where, what did we say we wanted to do for that? Weren't we gonna talk about some Christmas things in our respective fields?
Yeah, that was it. Okay.
So Timothy will talk about Krampus or something, and
hey, don't give away my secrets.
I will talk about, I don't know, Christmas skins in Overwatch or something.
Okay, but that could be kind of fun.
It could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So that's what we are going to have for you next week. We hope you will tune in and have a happy holiday.
And don't forget, after that, we're coming back in the new year.
Yes, new year.
With brand new release cycle and a few other big things coming, which we will also announce closer to then.
Yes, so we will have lots of updates for you in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned.
And continue to know some nonsense.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not sure that's
not the end.
No, it's not.
We haven't told them about
social medias.
The things.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
It's all KYM Podcast. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, yada, yada,
Twitter,
yada.
even though we don't use it all that much.
We don't use Twitter very much.
If somebody knows how to use Twitter,
hey, we'll fix it.
us.
We're going to get on it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, everywhere we are, KYN Podcast.
Right. Send us an email, kynpodcast@gmail.com if you want to tell us about
why we're wrong about
why we're
Portland,
wrong,
Maine.
why you enjoyed the episode.
Yes.
You know, either of those, any of the episodes.
Such a great
Let
dichotomy.
us know.
Why you enjoyed these, me. Why are we wrong? What did we mess up?
I mean, I'm sure we'll get that too.
I'm waiting for it, man. No one's called us out yet, so...
No. But we have had a few people who have helped us, you know. We had people send us sources about, like, the domes in Rome that you were wanting to know about.
This is true.
Yeah. That was awesome. Thank you for that. You rock.
You rock. Camp Rock.
Throw it back.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. No, we're not sponsored in any way. So, like, if any name brand gets dropped, we are not sponsored.
Yet.
Not yet, but not right now. So
Right, you're right.
Not a sponsor.
All right.
But that's it for today. We hope you all have a lovely rest of your day whenever you are hearing this. And I believe we out of here. You're being silent. Why are you making me do all the talking?
Because you just kept talking.
Bye.